That's inexcusable for me, anybody in the weather enterprise, and it should be inexcusable for the public. These were precious people that died.
Hi, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us for this special live episode of Behind the Forecast. I'm Chelsea Ingram, and I'm so excited to kick off this brand new video series we're launching as part of AEM's Talking with the Experts podcast. This series is all about going behind the scenes with people who work every day to keep us informed and warned when severe weather threatens our communities. And tonight, we couldn't ask for a better first guest, James Spann. For nearly 5 decades, James has been a trusted voice in Alabama weather, helping guide people through some of the state's most dangerous storms. He's joining us to talk about how his journey in broadcast meteorology has changed over the years, and his newest project as well, the Alabama Weather Network. For those of you that are joining us live, you'll also have a chance to ask James your own questions during our audience Q&A. We'd love for you to take part in the conversation. So let's get started. Come with us as we go behind the forecast with James Spann. James, it is so nice to finally meet you. I told you earlier, I've been following you for years, so it truly is an honor.
You did that whole thing without one single hiccup. This is incredible. This is a professional right here.
Gosh.
I could never do that. That's outstanding. But no, I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
You know, I've only been in Alabama for 8 hours. It's my first time ever in Alabama.
What?
But when I've talked to some of the citizens in the community and said, I'm going to be interviewing James Spann on a podcast tonight.
They said, who?
They're like, oh my gosh, James Spann? Our Uber driver, actually, she said, does he still roll up his sleeves when he gets real intense with following the storms?
Yeah, sure I do. Yeah. So it's obviously, we actually have a flash flood warning as we're doing the show here in downtown Birmingham.
But deluge as we were walking in.
It's been an interesting day, but a good day. Every day is a good day.
Well, it's such an honor to be interviewing you on our podcast. I'd love to start getting to know you a little bit more, and for our audience to get to know you a little bit more with what sparked your interest in meteorology growing up.
So I am from rural South Alabama. Now, you've never been to this state before.
First time.
So this is the largest city. This is the Birmingham Metro. I am from the other end of the state, which is the southern part of the state. Have you ever seen Forrest Gump?
Yes.
Forrest Gump is from what town? Greenbow, Alabama. So I know the guy that wrote that book. His name is Winston Groom. Winston passed away 5 years ago, but before he passed away, I said, Winston, did you pattern Greenbow after Greenville? He said, I sure did. I'm from Greenville, Alabama.
Okay.
So really and truly, I am from Greenbow, Alabama. But I loved, and listen, back when I was a kid, this was 100 years ago, we had no video games. We had no, Xbox. We had no social media. We had none of that. We just go play in the woods all day.
Sure, yeah.
And on summer days, down here in the Deep South, we have these random air mass storms every day. I love those things. I loved them. I couldn't wait for the next one. All my other buddies, they couldn't stand them because, it's raining and light, but I just loved them. So I think I was born with it. I think everybody that does weather, there's some type of internal fascination that you have, that you were born with that. And as you go through life experiences, it really comes out. But my first experience with those random air mass storms on a hot summer afternoon in South Butler County, Alabama.
And who were the mentors or experiences that really shaped your approach when it comes to weather communication? Because you are the top weather communicator across this state. Everyone knows you.
No, I'm just some guy that likes weather. So I think everybody, they like to study people that are really good. And I look back at the generation before my generation, these legendary broadcast meteorologists. Nash Roberts. You probably never heard of Nash Roberts. Nash was on WWL, Channel 4 New Orleans. And as a 13-year-old child, I listened to him all night on WWL radio. You could hear it up here at night during Hurricane Camille, which was a Category 5 hurricane, the Gulf Coast hurricane of record. And I couldn't go to sleep. I did not want, it broke my heart when the sun would come up because the radio station would go away. But I think Nash Roberts was the first one that I really listened to that I thought was just amazing, the way he communicated that this excessively dangerous hurricane. But there were others on television. Dan Atkinson, he was on the Weather Channel for a while. He worked at WSFA in Montgomery. Dan was a great communicator, and J.B. Elliott, who didn't work in television, he worked for the National Weather Service, but this is back when weather radio was done live in some cases.
Yeah.
He would go on weather radio, and he was outstanding, and J.B. was my real mentor. So you just have to study people that are really good, and I still do that today because, as I told you before we started, my first major in college was electrical engineering. And then I changed and finished in meteorology. I have never taken a class in being some TV guy, Facebook guy. I know nothing about communication, and we've got to be better. We have to be better at that.
And tell us more about that.
Well, so April 27, 2011. Where were you? Were you alive in 2011?
Yes.
Yes. So in one day, and most people around the nation, they don't even know that this happened here. In one day, we had 62 tornadoes. In one day, 252 people died on my watch. One day, imagine that. And most people don't even know that it happened, but that's inexcusable for me, anybody in the weather enterprise, and it should be inexcusable for the public. These were precious people that died. I've literally memorized every single name. I know their stories, I know their family members, I know who they were, and I wondered what they would be if they were alive today. And what we learned that day is this. We don't know anything about human behavior, and we're not that good at communication. The warnings could not have been better. 62 tornadoes, the warnings were timely, they were excellent, they were disseminated properly, and yet all these people died. And so we learned that day that we have to be better at communication, and we have to understand human behavior, which is why we've made a relationship with social scientists, these brilliant men and women that understand human behavior, behavioral sciences. And we have to have this integrated approach, interdisciplinary approach between those two, physical science, behavioral science, to be successful.
No, that makes sense.
I sound preachy, don't I? I'm sorry. I sound way too preachy here.
You're really passionate about it.
Well, I am. No.
You lived through that, covering that, exhausted through that, sweat through that.
Well,
how long was that day of coverage for you?
We do this a lot here.
Yeah.
And again, you go to Boston or Los Angeles or Seattle. Ask people where the tornadoes happen. Where do they happen? Oklahoma, because that's where the movies are set. And they do happen there, but we have more strong, violent tornadoes per square mile than Oklahoma by far. It's not even close. And so we deal with tornadoes a lot. But April 27, 2011, I call that generational. Those things happen about once every 40 years. We had a day like that April 3rd, 1974. We had a day like that March 21st, 1932. Had a day like that in February of 1884, about every 40 years. And you don't necessarily know that morning that it's going to be generational, but you know that it could be, and you've got to be at the top of your game. But I didn't talk about it for 6 months. And of all places, the National Weather Association annual meeting was where? Birmingham that year. And everybody, that was the largest attendance of any NWA annual meeting, was the one here. And everybody thought I was going to get up there because I talk loud, my arms get going, and I didn't say a word. I had to heal from that. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't. I went through every phase of grief. I went through some anger, depression, which is not me. I'm the most positive guy you'll ever meet. But I went through anger, depression. I was mad at me, mad at God. I was just mad for a while. And it took about 6 months. And after 6 months, I came out of it and I wanted to fix it. Let's roll up our sleeves and let's fix it.
Sure.
And that's when, and I wanted to know why every person died. Every single person died. What do you think the number one reason was?
Tell me, no weather radio?
You're very close. You're that close. The siren mentality. I don't know what it is, but here we are in 2025, and a large percentage of the American people honestly believe in their heart they're going to hear some magical air raid siren from World War I that's 5 miles away in the middle of a storm in the middle of the night. And they didn't get the warning because they thought they were going to hear a siren. And there are days I'm so mad about that. I want to climb these poles down, take them down, and burn them. That way you know that you won't hear them. But they serve a purpose. They reach a limited number of people outside it. They serve a purpose fine. But we've got to move past that. And phones are great. They're great. They're a critical part of the warning process. But during
They can also lose power.
During a real tornado emergency, that phone could be a brick. And so every home has to have a weather radio, NOAA weather radio. It's not that hard.
It's
now,
not.
But let me say this. For some families, it is too expensive. For some families, $30 is too much. For low-income families, that is cost prohibitive. We have to do a better job of getting $30 weather radios into the hands of those that can't afford them.
Sure.
And some local governments are doing that, and some other folks are helping in that, but we need to work on that. But that was the number one reason people died, was the siren mentality. I don't understand it, but that's a real problem we have.
I think it's so important just to have multiple ways to receive watches, warnings, advisories.
Yeah, you got a phone, you got a weather radio. Those are your two big. Those are the two big ones right there. Your phone, and be sure and have wireless emergency alerts turned on. A lot of people turn them off. Why do you think they turn off WIA? They don't want to receive Amber Alerts. What's the matter with you? A child is missing and you don't want to help? I don't understand that. But they get in there and they just turn it off. That's that loud tone app. Not an app. That every phone in this country is built in with that tone. Please have those things on and have a weather radio. And the second reason, I could go on all day. I could do a whole show on April 27th. Number 2 reason people died, lack of helmet use. For 20 years, I have been the chairman of the board of a very large hospital here, which makes no sense for what I do for a living. But then again, maybe it does. When I took that job 20 years ago, I wanted to learn trauma. I want to know why people die in tornadoes, and I knew that if I took that volunteer position, I would get the chance to speak with ER docs, and I still do all the time. And after 20 years with ER docs, they'll tell you the number one reason people die in tornadoes, blunt force trauma above the shoulders. That's the number one by far. And by putting on a cheap bicycle helmet. That increases your chance of survivability by, in some cases, 80%. And you can go buy them at Walmart or Dollar General for $5. If your kids play sports, a batting helmet, a football helmet, a motorcycle helmet. And this is not just for kids. This is for everybody. Every human life is precious. So if I'm preaching a message here, it's you got to have a weather radio, and in that safe place, you got to have a helmet.
Yeah, and I also think when you hear of a watch or a warning, check on your neighbor, check on your friends. Right.
That's the one thing that social science has taught me. The most valuable asset we have, it's weather weenies. Weather geeks, dweebs. Yeah. I assume if anybody's watching this, they're a weather nerd, a dork. You know, they pay attention to weather.
Sure.
And they will call their friends. They will call their relatives. They will call the next door neighbor guy that I can never reach and tell him, hey, this is serious. You got to get into a safe place right now. And they are so valuable. So for all the geeks, dweebs, nerds, dorks, and weenies of the world, thank you.
Let's talk a little bit more about broadcast meteorology in general. How has it evolved since your career started? So many changes. I know.
I'm old as dirt. This is embarrassing. Well, no, it's not. I don't care. So my first TV weather job was in June. It was June 26, 1978. I was 22. I just turned 22. I was an engineering student, had no formal training in meteorology, but a little local station in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, offered me a chance to do the evening weathercast for $1.80 an hour. I think, what, you're going to pay me to do this? This is outstanding. And that's when I learned that you could actually do this for a living. And so that started the journey. And in 1978, I was literally drawing on a plexiglass board and having to get the soupy solution and erase it after the show was over. And
oh my gosh!
It was so primitive; it's embarrassing. And to my knowledge, there's no video of that. But we progressed, and in the early '80s, a few years later, we got an Apple IIe computer. That was huge.
Ooh.
I mean, we were generating computer graphics, and we were able to access satellite imagery. For about a year, I had to drive to the National Weather Service office and get a printout of the still satellite picture. They would shoot that on a camera and key that behind me. That's how times were back then. And also about the time the Apple II computer came along, we got an enterprise radar receiver. Radar in the late 70s, if you took it, pretty much looked like somebody vomited on a piece of paper. It was useless. It literally looked like that. And that enterprise weather radar was colorized, so you had pretty colors. And you had VIP levels, and it made the radar useful to the viewer, and that changed everything. And, of course, back in those days, to access other radars, you had to dial a phone number. It was just a different world. So we've gone from that to where we are today, and we've come a long way. It's been a good journey.
How do you see broadcast meteorology fitting into the wider weather alerting enterprise, where working alongside agencies, private networks, and one of your favorites, local observers?
Well, let's get real. First off, the way people consume media, It's a whole lot different today than it was in
changed
1978.
big time.
It's a whole lot different today than it was in 2020, 5 years ago. And we have to be cognizant of that. And that's, I have tried to watch, I study people. And this is the one, so when I get interns in the summer, first place I take them, where do you think I take them?
Tell me.
These are brilliant college students, brilliant, derive the vorticity equation. These guys are brilliant, okay? I love working with these students. First place I take them is a Walmart. Chelsea, have you ever been in a Walmart?
Yes.
I don't believe you.
Many times.
I don't believe you.
I was there last week.
So this is a Walmart in a working class part of Birmingham. And that Walmart represents the best cross-section of people that we serve. Some are high income, some are low. Some live way out in the country, some live in the city. You've got every ethnicity in there. It's an amazing melting pot. And I will take these brilliant interns in there to see if they can communicate with those people. And if you cannot communicate with those people in that Walmart, you have no hope. You need to go do research. And that's fine. Maybe it's just not your gift. Maybe that's not what you should be doing. And, some have been very successful at that. I look back and some of the interns have just done so well, and others didn't, and that's okay. You're learning what your skill set is. But I like to hang out in Walmarts. I bet you've never been to a Dollar General. Never.
I 100%
She's never been to
I prefer Dollar Tree, but yes, I 100% have been to a Dollar General.
But what I do, I talk with people. And they will tell you, you don't need a $100,000 research project. Just go talk to people in the Dollar General. And you can learn from them what they want and how they consume media. And so in 1978, you had 3 channels, ABC, CBS, and NBC, where today, when most people go home, what do they watch at night? What do they watch at night? Netflix, Hulu,
streaming.
They watch YouTube. They watch. They're not going to watch, CBS tonight at 9 o'clock. What used to generate, 30, 35 ratings, now they're generating zeros and ones. So the concept of linear television, that era has ended. It's a product of a bygone era. And we have to change, and that's fine. Everything changes. It's fine. But having said that, to do what I need to do successfully, I do need a network of volunteers, and we've got a Slack workspace that rocks.
Yeah, tell me about
with
it.
these volunteer weather observers, and most of them have been trained in skywarn spotting.
Okay.
They've been to a basic skywarn
They're
class.
professionals.
Yeah, they're weather dweebs.
Yeah.
It's like what we talked about before. And I know when I go to that Slack workspace, nobody's going to try and game the system like social media, where somebody's going to send you a picture of a tornado from 20 years ago.
Right.
This thing just touched it. No, everything they send, it's real and it's relevant.
Accurate, ground truth.
Right. I don't have to worry about its authenticity.
Sure.
And so when you've got several thousands of these in a statewide setting, that changes the whole game. It really does, because radar is only so good. The radar beam can be 5,000 feet off the ground at any given point. As you know, radar beam goes in a straight line. The Earth curves. And so having ground truth is just critical, and having that network of people. And then beyond that, true, I do use social media a lot. There are good and bad things about it, but and there's some great reports that come in. In fact, while we're talking, we have active weather. I will probably have 1,000 photos and videos that come in just during the time we're talking.
You're kidding me.
Everybody that sends me one of those, I will acknowledge it. With nothing else, maybe a thumbs up, thank you. Out of all the weather people in the world, they chose me, and I'm honored. I'm honored that they chose me. And so, and it gives me a window to the world. So I love that. And it helps us be better when it comes to communicating threats. And I think my biggest battle has shifted in recent years to cutting down hyperbole and nonsense. I just don't understand it. You cannot constantly hype up routine weather events and expect to be successful. You can't do that. You have to save strong language and verbiage for when the weather is really dangerous. You cannot call a code red weather emergency day when it's foggy. And you got some people that do that today. So,
And this goes back to the importance of being better at communicating.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's less false alarm.
In so many, upper management types, they think that stuff's going to bring in audience, back to the local newscast. No, it's driving them away. I can prove it. Come with me to the Dollar General and talk with these precious people and listen to what they say. And I try and be responsive to them. And if you can have empathy, to me, that's one of the things that's missing in meteorology, it's empathy. And this is my Butler County, Alabama definition of empathy.
Okay.
Putting yourself in somebody else's shoes. Walk a mile in their shoes. And if you can just see what these people go through, what their lives are like, what they need, what they expect, the way you communicate will change, and the way in the platforms that you use will change, and what you say will change. And I've tried to do that all my life, and I'm still not that good at it, but I'm trying. I'm getting there.
That's the most important thing.
Yeah, it's empathy. Yes.
Yeah.
Listen, you have to have a servant's heart. Let's just get real, okay?
You do.
The three things if I'm hiring you or anybody that wants to work with me in terms of meteorology. We just had a new startup we just built down here. We hired a lot of people. I'm looking for three things. Number one, I'm looking for somebody that has a passion for weather.
Sure.
You love it, like me. You can't wait. My wish for everybody, for you and everybody watching this, is that you can wake up and love what you do. You can't wait to go to work. I work 4 a.m. to midnight every day. I sleep 3 hours a night. I'm not complaining. I can't wait to get up at 4 o'clock and tell a weather story. I can't wait to do that. I want somebody with a passion for weather. I want somebody that will do it with integrity. And that's a topic for another day, but I think that's important. And I want somebody that has a servant's heart. You're looking after the needs of others. If you're a practitioner like I am, you are a servant. You have to look out after the needs of others. And it gets discouraging. I'll give you an example. I had an applicant for a pretty good job in the weather office. And what do you think the first thing I do is when I get an applicant? What's the first thing I do?
I don't know. Tell me.
Check their social media feeds.
Yes.
I become a creeper, okay? And this candidate on a certain platform, of the last 100 posts, 99 were pictures of that person, selfies. So 99 out of 100 were pictures of you. So what are you telling people? You're telling people it's all about me. It's not about you. It's about me. Look at me. I don't want that. There's no room for that in my world. I want somebody with a servant's heart. So again, here's the tip. You've got to have a passion for this. And if weather is not your passion, this is the worst job in the world. If it is the greatest job in the world. I want somebody with integrity and somebody that works with a servant's heart. And I'll give you one more clue. I probably shouldn't say this. This is one of my secrets. So if you're about to interview with me, the first thing I will do is eat a Rice Krispie treat. I bet you never eat Rice Krispie treats.
I grew up eating them.
I don't believe it.
The homemade
I don't
ones
believe
are
you.
the best. I'm not the ones in the blue wrapper, not my favorite.
But that blue wrapper, that's a key. You got it. So I will take that blue wrapper after eating that Rice Krispie treat and put it on the floor in my office, adjacent to a trash can that is extremely visible to anybody that walks in there. When the candidate comes in, I want to see if they're willing to pick up that blue wrapper and put it in the trash can. And that's not how you get the job, but by golly, it might be a tiebreaker. It tells me a little bit about the condition of your heart. So you've learned one of my tricks today.
I have. And now anyone who ever applies to...
When you see that blue wrapper, pick it up and put it in the trash can. I'll never be invited back on this show. I'm taking it.
You're cracking me up.
I'm used to weather brains where we just cut up the whole time. I'm sorry, Chelsea. I'll be a better guest. I'm sorry.
No, you're excellent. Let's talk a little bit more about how you'd like to see the science of meteorology improve. So not just broadcast meteorology, but meteorology in general.
Oh, we've got so many issues. For example, I mentioned air mass storms as a child. I'm 100 years old. When I was a child, when I was a little boy, nobody could tell me at 7 o'clock in the morning exactly when and where it would rain on a summer afternoon.
Sure.
Here we are in 2025, and guess what? I cannot tell people exactly when and where it's going to rain. It is so stinking frustrating. So if you listen to a public weather forecast, what does it say?
40% chance of rain.
Partly sunny, hot and humid with scattered afternoon and evening showers and storms. That helps nobody. They want to know if it's going to rain at 7 o'clock at the ballpark where their son's got a ball game. They want to know if it's going to rain at 3 in the afternoon for this corporate event that's outdoors, and I cannot tell them that, and it's so frustrating. And of course, they get their app, and most apps are model output, and models, listen, where's the camera, Chandler? All models are wrong. Some are useful, okay? If you hear anything I say during this show, if you're a weather dweeb, all models are wrong. Some are useful. but they see this model output, which is nonsense. With random, we don't have the grid resolution. We don't have the storm scale setting for these things to be accurate. And I'm talking the CAMs. I'm talking, the 3 kilometer high resolution rapid refresh. It's no good in the summer. So that's one of our biggest challenges down here. That's an example of how far we have to go. There is so much we don't know. And as you get older, you understand that. And let me just say this. I love this next generation. The National Weather Association annual meeting is coming up in Huntsville in a couple of weeks. And there's going to be college kids in there from all over. And I love this generation. I typically speak in 1 to 2 colleges every spring, and I can't wait to go to those student conferences because I love their passion, I love their academic skill, and their desire to break the code of the things that we don't understand. But we have to do better with that. We're no good at snow down here. Now, you're a snow expert. I'm not. We're not. I can't. I could write a book about blown snow forecasts down here. But listen, and here's the problem, I think, to me, the basic problem. We're still launching balloons full of hydrogen twice a day. What happens in 12 hours in the atmosphere that we don't know about?
A lot.
And this data is what goes into the global models and the mesoscale models. And I know there's some aircraft data and some drone stuff going on here, but we've got to do better than that. We have to figure that out. We have to have better data, better input to have better output to solve some of these problems that we have. And we just have to be better. And again, if you have empathy, you're thinking about the end user, and you're thinking about
saving lives.
Yeah, you're thinking about goodness gracious, Lauren Brown, Danielle Downs, and Will Stevens. They were at 31 Beverly Heights in Tuscaloosa, and all 3 of those college kids were killed April 27, 2011. I can close my eyes, I can see their face, and we have to do better for them. And I could, don't get me started, I could do this all night, but we have to be better in the scientific world, and we have to have better communication between the researchers and the practitioners. I'm a low-level stooge down here. I'm the lowest-level practitioner you've got, but I look at the brilliant work that's being done. And one of our Weather Brains guys is Dr. Neil Jacobs. Neil is the #1 expert globally on numerical weather prediction modeling. He should be soon the administrator of NOAA. And learning from this man, I could sit and listen to Neil for hours talk about NWP. And he's helped me so much. And that's the one thing I've also learned. You got to learn something new every day. You have to. This is
Always
so
be
much.
growing.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're known for your relentless pace. So you, wake up at 4 a.m., did you say?
Yeah.
Okay, and you go to sleep at midnight?
1.
1, okay.
Yes.
So you sleep very few hours.
3.
Yeah, I don't know. You're so energetic.
I'm only 22 years old. This is what you look like when you never sleep, by the way. Get some sleep.
Right. So you do television, you do radio, you have your podcast, now a new project. What drives you to do so much? I would assume the people, maybe.
I can't wait to do this. Number one, you love weather. Everything I do involves weather. Everything I do from 4 a.m. to midnight. I work 4 a.m. to midnight every day, weekdays.
Yeah.
And it's a joy. Everything's a joy. And what's funny, most old people slow down. I speed up.
Yeah.
People
sounds
say,
like it.
when are you going to retire? Never. I'm going to drop dead doing this somewhere. And another thing that I do that I can't stress is critical. It's being in a school every single day. I'll see some of these, TV guys. Hey, man, I went to 2 schools last month. 2 schools last month? You ought to be in 2 schools a day. My first school opening is in 2027. And I just take them as they come in. I don't care if they're out in the 100, 200 miles away, if they're next door, if it's a little school, big school. I don't care. I'll take them as they come in. And to be able to encourage these kids and get them excited about science and let them know that they're special and they can learn this stuff and they can do this, it's a joy. It really is. I'll be at Hayden Elementary School tomorrow. I bet you've never been to Hayden Elementary School.
I never have.
Oh,
no.
Goodness gracious. And that's critical. And the other beautiful thing about speaking in these schools every day, you learn the geography. You cannot be successful at what I do unless you understand the geography, the culture, and the people. I would be a dud in Baltimore. I would be run out of town on a rail. Who is this loser?
I'd help you out.
Yeah. I'm no good in Baltimore. I'm no good in New York City. I'm no good in Denver. I'm no good in Chicago. Boston I could probably do, but Boston's my happy place. I'm a Red Sox guy. I hang out in Boston.
All right.
But when you travel to a school every day, you learn the geography. You can close your eyes. You've been down that road. You know where the Walmart is. You know where the barbecue joint is. So there's a tornado 14 miles southwest of Clanton, Alabama. Nobody knows where that is. But if you tell them it's near Jim's Pit Barbecue, everybody in Billingsley, Alabama, they're going to know where that sucker is. And that knowledge, if you do it for a long time, and I've been doing it like 47 years, it's helpful. It's beneficial. So everything I do, it's just a joy. And the other thing, too, I think that helped me, I was not in good physical health for a while. I was not. I mean, I was grossly overweight, constantly tired because I don't sleep, I don't eat right. And I just knew that I wasn't going to live much longer. This was about 10 years ago. And there was, at the time where I worked at the TV station, a little gym right across the street. And our son trained there when he played baseball. And I thought it was for athletes, but they had, a section for regular people. And I started going over there, and the first 3, it was brutal. I mean, I literally came back and threw up the third time. My body rejected it, but I got into it. And after 10 years of that, I'm strong as an ox. I mean, I am strong as an ox. I back squatted 200 pounds the other day. And when you're in good physical condition, you're in good mental condition. Your cognition is so good. And I cannot make a mistake during live tornado coverage, calling out a wrong street, making a mistake like that. I can't do that. And the day I start doing that consistently, I'll stop. That's when I know it's time to stop. But I think if you're in good physical health, you're in good mental health. So
this relentless pace you have, you mentioned that's Monday through Friday. I want to know what you do on the weekend.
Well, it doesn't stop. Every Saturday in the fall, I have to be at every single University of Alabama football game. I do weather support for the University Athletic Department. I was Coach Saban's, you ever heard of Nick Saban? I was his weather guy, still am, for years and years and years and years. And I'm at the stadium to support the athletic department and the coaches, but also I work with Crimson Tide Sports Marketing. I do the Jumbotron weather updates, which is, a money-making thing for them, which is great. I don't get paid. I get a nice parking place and free food. But so on Saturdays I do. And by the way, I finished at Mississippi State. Everybody hates me. It's just like I finished, and I will be loyal to Mississippi State University because they gave me my career. I finished in meteorology there. So I do University of Alabama home football games. When I'm not doing that, we do book signings every Saturday. I've authored one book about April 27th, one about my life, and a series of children's books, which that's the best part about the whole thing. And we go all over this state doing these book events, and they're outstanding. I just can't wait. So I do that on Saturday. Sunday, I lead children's worship. If I was not doing this for a living, I would be a third-grade science teacher. Third grade.
You'd be so great at that.
Third grade. Third grade.
What's your favorite about third grade?
Third grade. Number one, they understand sarcasm. They think you're funny. Number 2, they have the cognitive skill to learn middle school level science. Number 3, they're still sweet. And number 4, they don't smell bad yet. Listen, you teach 5th grade, you know what you say you've got a boy, right?
I do.
When that boy's in 5th grade, you'll know what I'm talking about. They smell horrible and they spray themselves down with Axe. The whole thing is just bad. But so I would teach 3rd grade, but on Sundays I have hundreds of kids under my watch at a large church. I do children's worship. I think you should give back to the community, and that's a big part. I love that. I cannot wait to do that. And on Sunday evening, I do one fun thing. I play tennis.
Okay.
If you look at us from a distance, we look good. Now, up close is inconsistent because I can only play once a week.
Yeah.
Because I'm still doing traditional television, and I can't do much at night. But we hit that sucker hard. And we've been out there playing together for years and years. It's like a family out there. So if there's one little mental escape, it's the tennis on Sunday evening. In fact, I challenge you to come out there. She looks like an athlete.
Well, thank you.
You an athlete?
I am not.
Did you play softball?
I did not.
Why not?
I did soccer.
No,
No.
No. Why didn't you play softball?
I just never did. But I
Middle
would
infielder.
try.
I would make her a middle infielder all day. I can tell she's fast. She's got speed, and that's where you want to put her as the middle infield. See, I got a lot of questions for you that she's asking all the questions. I need to be asking the questions.
Because I get to ask all the questions.
Because you're the host, yes.
All right, I want to talk about.
And I'll never be invited back to this show again.
You will always be invited back. I want to talk about the Alabama Weather Network. This is incredible. You can reach the entire state now with watches, warnings, advisories, really important life-saving information.
Right, and again, I'm so thankful that my traditional television partner, Sinclair Broadcast Group, they worked with me to make this happen, where I could still be the chief meteorologist for the ABC TV affiliate in the largest market in the state and do the statewide network. It's a good partnership. It's a win-win for both of us. But with this new business, what it does, and I've scaled back on the television side. I'm just doing 2 newscasts a day. Forever I was 4, 5, 6, and 10, all these. I'm just doing the 5 and the 6. But I'm free now to take care of the whole state, from the Tennessee Valley to the Gulf Coast. And I know this state better than anybody else. Anybody. The governor. Yeah, I don't care who you bring in here. Let's do some Alabama trivia. I'll beat you hands down every time.
Yes, that is true.
And these are my people. And again, I am from rural South Alabama. And a lot of rural communities are underserved by traditional broadcasters. And this is not meant to be a big criticism here, but it is true. If there's a tornado in the metro, we're live, local, late breaking, on the air. The minute it gets out there in the boondocks where there's no ratings diaries, they go back to Freak of the Week or whatever program's on television. Yeah. They're underserved. We fix that problem. If there's a tornado warning for any county in the state, I don't care who it is, where it is, what hour of the day, we're on the air. We had one today at 4 o'clock, which was kind of a bogus tornado warning, but it doesn't matter. We went on the air because that's our promise. It was the first tornado warning we've ever done down there. And so this will guarantee that people have access to long-form coverage with a large staff of professional meteorologists, resources I've not had in years. We'll have a camera in all 67 counties, multiple cameras in a lot of counties. We've got streamers, chasers in the field, Brett Adair and his group. And I've never had this many resources before. When a hurricane's coming up on the Alabama Gulf Coast, we might be on the air for 3 days in a row, nonstop. Yeah. 3 days in a row, nonstop. We have the people to do that. We have the resources to do that, leading up to the landfall day and the days after the landfall. And we do get winter storms, and we're not good at it. We might be on the air 3 days for an ice storm down here. So having the freedom to do that and to take care of these people, these are my people. These are my people. I was born in this state. I will die in this state. I will be buried here. Now, I was away for 2 years. I was in Dallas, Texas. I was the chief meteorologist for Channel 4 News in Dallas-Fort Worth. At the time, it was the CBS channel, but these are my people. So it gives me just a chance to do what I believe I was born to do. Why was some low-income kid from rural South Alabama born to be standing in front of a green wall when there are tornadoes flying? I don't know. But what this does, it gives me the opportunity to take care of everybody. And I've been doing that on social for a long time, but this will be the live stuff. It's going to be good.
So how important will the local observations be in making the network successful?
Oh, goodness gracious. For example, today, we had some flooding issues, and we have one of our Slack channels. It's for those that have weather instruments. And getting that data back in real time is invaluable. We had, there's a county up in Northeast. You ever heard of Fort Payne, Alabama?
Not this.
Chelsea needs to get out more.
I know. I do.
You ever heard the band Alabama?
Yes.
Well, they're from Fort Payne.
Okay.
But it's in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. It's gorgeous up there. But they had, we had one of our observers with a 4.5-inch rain total, a little over 4.5 inches. And radar estimates are okay, but they're just that. They're estimates. Nothing can beat a real-time set of observations from somebody with the set of weather equipment, good, reliable weather instruments. And having that at our fingertips, it gives us the ability to help people. A road washed out in DeKalb County. I can tell you what county road that was. It was County Road 478. Don't you get on that road because that road is gone. And as you know, you can't really tell during a flash flood if there's a road under that water or not. And we always say, turn around, don't drown. But some people just kind of ignore that. So yeah, having the observers is just critical.
So speaking of weather instrumentation, get up for a second.
Wait, she's leaving.
Goodbye.
She just bailed. She's the captain of the ship, and she just left.
So Davis Instruments is a part of the AEM family.
And this is what people need right here.
This is.
Yes.
And we would like to donate this to the Alabama Weather Network.
Really? You came bearing gifts?
We did. We really believe in what you do. We believe in your mission of saving more lives across the state.
Wow.
And we think it's important for you to have, top-notch equipment while you're doing this. So you can place this wherever you see most fit. It gives you temperature, humidity, dew point, wind speed, direction, wind chill, heat index, pressure, rainfall amount, and rate. This is the Davis Vantage View. So it's a beautiful
This is
piece
actually
of
one of the ones I typically recommend because people ask me all the time, I want to get a weather station, or I'm a wife buying one for my husband or vice versa. And to me, this offers really good value and it's very reliable. So I think what we'll do, we're going to have a contest. We're going to have a Skywatcher contest. And,
Good deal.
This is going to be fun. So,
Perfect. So wherever you want to install it, we can get you brackets, whatever you need. I'll put it back on the shelf.
Wow.
But
Okay.
this
Thank you
is
for letting me come. I'll see you all.
yours.
I got a prize. I can leave now.
like a
Wow.
trophy.
That's
Like
outstanding.
Like a trophy. So we believe in what you do, and
Well,
just think it's
I'm
so
honored.
wonderful
Thank you so
that
much.
you've-
I feel horrible that I took this show down the tubes. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Well, on that note, talk to us a little bit more about what's next. What's the next big challenge? What's the next big opportunity? Meteorology, public weather, communication in general.
Well, let me just say this let's say that maybe there's a high school student watching this and they want to get into the weather enterprise. Or maybe a college student like me that's in the wrong major. They love weather all their life. And they're looking at it and they see chaos. They really do because, as you know, we've had some chaos within the government, within NOAA and the National Weather Service. And I try to, as old as I am, I've seen this over and over and over. It's cyclical, which means if there's a hiring freeze, it will go away and they're going to be hiring again. And basically, that's what's already happened. They're hiring again. There's a lot of amazing jobs now with the National Weather Service that are out there, and they need really good people to fill those jobs. Don't be discouraged. You have to follow your passion in life to be successful. I don't care if you're 35 years old, if you're 45 years old. You can go back to school. You really can. And for those that are in high school, if you want to be a storm chaser, and I hear that all the time, I want to be a storm chaser.
Yeah.
I never discourage them. And I want to say, you'll lose a lot of money because it's really expensive. It's like a hobby. You need a real job. But
To fund it.
I never discourage anybody from that. Go follow your dream, follow your passion. And I think it's a great time to get in this. For people and here's the thing, at some point I will drop dead. And I don't want to hand the next generation a dumpster fire. I don't. In fact, I might have my dumpster fire socks. Oh, they're Fruit Loop socks. I don't want to hand them a dumpster fire. I want to build a model that's going to be vibrant and give them hope in a future where they can make a good living for their family. They can love coming to work every day, and they will communicate in ways that we could never do for most of my time in all those 47 years. And I'd like to think what we're building down here now is the start of that. And people will take what we're doing and they can take it to other states and build other models with it and maybe do things better than we're doing with it. But it's not the Ron Burgundy, good evening, here's the news. And the journalists, I think, have to change too. And that's not listen, I know nothing about that. But we have to change the way we communicate. And I think the traditional broadcasters understand that. And we certainly understand that, and we're going to build something special. The one thing I don't like to see college graduates taking a job in broadcast meteorology making minimum wage. I don't like that. Think about what they went through.
That was me.
Think about what they
so
went
many of
through
us.
to achieve that degree. And you could
Then you're
work
working a second job while you're
right, or you could work at McDonald's and make more money. And nothing wrong with working at McDonald's. Listen, nothing wrong with that. But we want to give them, a pay scale that they deserve. We want them to have a setting where they love coming to work every day. And I think they're hitting it at the right time. So don't you get discouraged. Get in it. Stay with it. Follow your passion. And if you want to do mass communication, I don't even know what to call it anymore. And that's the other thing, too. You look at a Ryan Hall and a max velocity. You ever heard of Ryan Hall and max velocity? A lot of the traditional old school broadcasters get their back arched. Oh, they're horrible people. No, they're not. By golly, they got a bigger audience than you do. Maybe they're doing something right, and maybe you need to learn from them. We've had both of them on Weather Brains, and they were great guests. And are they doing everything perfect? No, nobody is. But, we have to take the best of what they're doing and the best of what we've done for all these years and come up with this new model. And it's happening, so just don't get discouraged. If you hear anything I say tonight, don't get discouraged.
That's wonderful. That's good. I want to transition now to a Q&A with our audience because we have hundreds of people watching.
This is terrifying.
Yes, I've got the questions coming in.
Hope the haters aren't on here.
So let's start with this one from Greg Gall. What weather indicators help you predict when and where hail is likely to fall, and what signs can an individual look out for?
Well, first off, hail is a convective product. A lot of people get hail and sleet confused.
Oh, yeah.
Sleet is a winter storm product.
Sleet doesn't accrete.
She's good. This is a professional communications officer right here. I'm not. So, number one, you have to have deep convection, obviously. And obviously, for large hail, you have to have a strong updraft. You have to have a strong updraft. And for air parcels to rise freely, that is called instability. So the first thing you do on a sounding, and by the way, the soundings are gold. If you've never looked at an upper air sounding, start looking at them. It's absolute gold. First thing I do, 4 o'clock in the morning, what do? If I didn't see it the night before, I'll look at the OZ balloon launch from the night before to see what the atmosphere was like at the last observation point, which was, hours ago, but still. And if you have tremendous amounts of instability, upward motion, you've got to have that to support that large hail in that for a long time in the sub-freezing zone. And you've got to obviously have cold air aloft. And so look at the sounding, okay? Look at those CAPE values.
All right. John Lauer says, what strategies have you found most effective in getting people to take severe weather threats seriously, and how can emergency managers and technology providers support that communication?
Well, I think the first thing we have to do is to be consistent and be there when people need us. If you're an emergency manager, that means it might be a Saturday night. It might be a Sunday morning. You have to be there when people need you. And the messaging has to be consistently good and no hyperbole. Again, I will tell you what's out there. It's terrifying. I did a post today about some of the TikTok stuff on Aaron. And a lot of younger people, that's all they watch. It's TikTok. And that's fine.
But then they believe it.
They believe everything they see. The government's lying to you. We're being paid by the government. Hurricanes are controlled by the government. They're developed and controlled, and they're birthed by chemtrails and HARP and the golden node and all this stuff. And they believe this stuff.
Yeah.
And don't get hung up in that. Just listen. People say, well, if I don't hype up every little weather event, I'll not have any followers. I'm doing okay. Without hyping anything, I'm doing okay. And on the social side. So no excess hyperbole. If it's 90 degrees in Alabama on an August day, that is not a heat emergency.
Yeah.
It's not. I know. Listen, the summer of 1980 was a heat emergency here. I've lived through them where heat was seriously killing people. But that's not it. So be a straight shooter and understand your audience, understand the people that you serve, consistently good information, be there when you need them, and you'll be successful.
That's great advice. Randall Hyde has a question. What can hotels do better to inform their guests if there is severe weather occurring?
Where's Bill Murray? Bill Murray is one of my colleagues in the Alabama Weather Network. Bill is a hotel guy. That his passion in life is meteorology, and that's what he was wired to do, but he manages hotels all over the country, and that's what Bill does. But I do think there's some bit of responsibility for each hotel to communicate if you're in a tornado warning. I think they need to know that. And most hotels, like I was in Boston a little earlier this summer, and boy, there was this loudspeaker in the room. There's an emergency in the building. I think there's got to be a way of messaging people that there's a tornado warning, and we want you to stay in the interior part of this thing, away from windows. Just some basic instructions. No need to panic anybody, but I think they have the right to know if they're under a tornado warning.
Absolutely.
And they might not get it on their phone. And the same thing for a flash flood warning. They're about to get into a rental car, and they're going to drive into a flash flood without knowing it. Just all of these warnings, and most people get them on their phone. I understand that, but I still think it would be nice if hotels offered that service to people if nothing else, on the way out, just stop messaging in the lobby that you got a problem here. You got a tornado warning.
Absolutely. We've got more questions coming in. Stephen Prinzavali, I hope I said that right. He is asking, what is the greatest challenge you have faced in communicating critical weather information to viewers?
Oh, goodness. When it comes to people ask about April 27, 2011, that generational tornado outbreak. You want the truth? A first grader could have issued those warnings. Really, a first grader. The radar signatures were so clear. And in many cases, the tornadoes were visible on cameras. Literally, that was one of the easiest events I've ever worked, was April 27, 2011, in terms of warning, dissemination, all that. The loss of life was horrific, and again, we've talked about that. But to me, the hardest event, the biggest challenge for me, it's 3 a.m., middle of the night, and we have a QLCS. So let's see who's a weather dweeb on this show. What does that mean? QLCS. We got a live chat on this thing? QLCS.
See if anything's coming in.
QLCS, okay? What is it?
Quasi-linear convective system.
Ooh, she's good. She's good.
I went to school.
Now, this is how old I am. When I was a kid, we called them a squall line. When I was in school, we were taught they were a squall line. At some point, some pinhead came up with that fancy name, which is fine. But a middle of the night, 3 a.m. QLCS, a squall line coming in here, where you've got these little embedded tornadoes that might be down for maybe 1 to 2 minutes, and they go back up. And they can kill people in the middle of the night, knocking a tree on a trailer.
Yeah.
That's my biggest challenge. Are we even good enough to try? Because once you see that, you get one volume scan, there's your tornado. By the time you get on the air, then it's over. It's already gone.
Yeah.
And I don't think we're good enough to do that. And maybe if we're in constant continuous coverage, but that's my biggest challenge. It's middle of the night, squall line, QLCS, spin up tornadoes. We're just not good at it.
Here's a really interesting question from Safan Kurish. He says, Mr. Spann, from your decades of experience on weather forecasting in our water-rich state, if you could charge the scientists and engineers at the Alabama Water Institute with one single mission to close the most critical gap between a weather forecast and its impacts on our water systems, so it could protect lives and infrastructure during floods, to manage water availability for our farms, cities, what would that mission be?
Hydrology model. I want a dynamic hydrology model that will help us dealing with river flooding and flash flooding. River flooding this state is rich in water resources. Let me tell you what, you ought to go to the Mobile Delta. It is a treasure, an environmental treasure we have in this state, where all this water flows into Mobile Bay. But we often don't have the right data and the right model output with our dynamic models that we use to forecast high-end flash flood events and hydrology events. We're not that good at that. At least in my opinion, we're not that good. Having said that, down the road in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, we have the National Water Center and the Institute that was referred there. And having that resource in our backyard, it's gold. And I have had a chance to visit them, and they're developing just what they've asked me the same question, and they're developing new modeling, and they're developing better ways of us to see real-time information in terms of hydrology, in terms of river levels, creek levels. I've had too many people that have died in flash floods here. And my problem, it's not like in Texas, where we had earlier this summer that horrific situation in the Texas Hill Country. My problem is people driving through roads that have been washed out. It's vehicles, and we've got to do better. And then we've got to do better with the river flooding, because so many of our communities are based on rivers. And
absolutely,
you've got to get them out of there before those levels get too high. So having them in the backyard, it's absolute gold.
Yeah, I think at some point offline here, we're going to have to show you a look at some of our flood modeling that we do with AEM.
Ooh!
I think it'd be really incredible.
Well,
I think you'd be pretty impressed.
Let's talk. Give me, tell me more.
We'll show you a little demo at some point. So that's something we'll do offline.
Okay.
A couple more questions that have come in. This one's from Riley Manthe. Alerting the public to weather hazards has always been challenging. How do you keep everyone aware and alert without becoming repetitious and disregarded?
Well, so the one thing we've learned, I think, is that during any high-impact event, what we do has to be visually interesting. We live in a different world. And listen, the next generation is different. That's fine. Every generation is different. but they want it to be visually interesting. This is why Ryan Hall, Max Velocity, all these guys, they've done so well. They've got these constant, streams from chasers in the field. And it's like a car chase in Los Angeles. Who doesn't love a good car chase in Los Angeles? They're fascinating to watch. And so when it comes to not being repetitive and boring and standing in front of a radar, I see this over and over and over. And I'm not knocking the meteorologists. They just don't have any resources. But they will stand in front of a radar for 4 hours during a tornado event with no fixed cameras, no chasers, just standing in front of radar.
Yeah.
And if you go down to the Dollar General, most people in there, you show them a TDS. What's a TDS? Tornado debris signature. Using what product? Correlation coefficient. They look at that and it means nothing to them.
A lot of colors.
Yeah, it looks like a bucket of spilled paint. And while meteorologists, we get our underwear flapping and whoa, look at this.
My God.
Whoa, man.
Yeah.
They don't see anything. And while we do our best to communicate that, and sometimes we have to, if it's the middle of the night, I understand that, but we have to be better in terms of making it visually interesting, these long-form tornado coverage type things that we do. And that's one reason we built this whole thing out. I think it will be visually interesting, not only to a 25-year-old, but to an 85-year-old that never experienced it before. I think they'll be blown away by what they're missing.
Well, we wish you the best of luck with the Alabama Weather Network. Again, we're really excited about it.
I'm excited about this.
Yes.
My heart is warm. My heart was cold coming in. Our producer down here, thank you. This is outstanding.
Well, we appreciate you so much, and we thank you for sharing your time, because we know and we've learned throughout this podcast how you are such a incredibly busy man who is constantly giving to his community, trying to save lives, serving his community. You're just such an impressive guest that we've had on here.
You're way too kind.
But truly,
Thank you, Chelsea.
It's been an honor.
Thank you.
A big thank you to everyone who has joined us for this first episode. We're so grateful that you chose to spend your evening with us. Be sure to join us again in September when we go behind the forecast with Jim Cantori, one of the most recognizable names in weather, known for his fearless on-the-ground reporting in the middle of hurricanes and severe storms. Jim brings a perspective on extreme weather that few others can even match. It's going to be a fascinating conversation you won't want to miss. Until then, I'm Chelsea Ingram. Thanks again for being part of this launch event, and we'll see you next time behind the forecast.